A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
Look at all this action as we come on lap 100.
For 7. We're going to go around. This could be the big one.
Hey, 4 wide! 4 wide in Texas! Todd falls back!
A new season of racing continues into week 2 tonight on the high banks of Bristol, Tennessee. 250 laps around the world's fastest half mile are sure to include all the bumping and banging you could hope for. Strap in for the Van Lilly Stickers 250 at Bristol. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Bristol, Tennessee. My name is Andrew Cardinale. Scott Shive is alongside me, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the No Limit Racing Sim Rap Market Series. Tonight's coverage of Bristol is brought to you by No Limit Racing Sim Rap Market, all series partners, and tonight's presenting partner, Van Lilly Stickers. Now, admittedly, everything was looking good in practice and warm-up and everything until now. With graphics, they've just frozen on me. Can you believe it? Right in the moment that we're about to get things started, so bear with me for a moment. We had a broadcast last night where things went well, but it is something we are still battling from the end of last week's broadcast, if you recall. So it's something we thought we had sorted out. We will address it here. But Scott, we've got something very interesting we're doing this evening that we can talk about real quick in lieu of what we would usually be talking about to get the broadcast started. How about the fact that you, at some point tonight, will be dropping a trivia question for somebody in the crowd, somebody watching on YouTube, to guess the trivia answer and win $25 to IMB Raceware. That, I think, is pretty cool.
Right, IMB is doing a really cool thing here tonight where we're going to ask a trivia question at some point tonight in the broadcast. We don't. I know what it's going to have to deal with. Y'all don't yet, but it could be about anything. It could be about racing. It could be about Star Wars. It could be about whatever. But stick around, because if you get that trivia question right first in our YouTube stream or any of our YouTube stream, then you will win that $25 voucher. But anyway, now we're on, so stick around for that. Up next, we've got Bristol.
Yeah, it's Bristol Motor Speedway. You see the track map from above the speedway. This is including the single pit lane, which drivers will have to use under caution. During green flag conditions, though, they will be able to pit in their pit lane, meaning, which sounds kind of silly, but meaning they'll be able to pit either out of turn 4 or turn 2 and go down their respective single pit lane. On one side of the racetrack. Under caution, they've got to enter out of turn 2 and stay in the pit lane all the way around to turn number 1. I haven't seen a league do it the way they're doing it this evening. It's a lot like what NASCAR does, but we're going to strap in and go along for the ride, and I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun regardless. Now, what's special about Bristol is the fact that it's not a perfect straight up oval. It's not perfectly symmetrical. It's got that little bit of an egg shape. I don't think people realize it, but turns 3 and 4 are a little bit wider radius than turns 1 and 2, very slightly, but it does, I think, bring a little bit of character into the racetrack.
Absolutely. It's something I don't really think about often at all. Another thing that brings that big characteristic is what you talked about, the 24 to 28 degrees of banking. This track in the early 2000s was reconfigured to have progressive banking, and a lot of people, some people love that move, a lot of new people love that move, a lot of old people that have been around NASCAR for a long time, since the 70s, really didn't love that move. It has created 2-lane racing, and personally I love it because it gives you more options as a driver, and tonight we're going to see people up top, in the middle, all the way down low.
Let's take a look at point standings for the first time this season. Here's a look at things. Holden McGill with the win last week is atop the point standings over Andon Mendenhall, Matt Levitt, Matthew Taylor, and Russell Black for your top 5. Zach Millett checks in tied for 5th. Dalton Tucker, last season's champion, will join us in 7th. Matthew Montgomery, Jeremy Brown, and Brandon Frohnapple coattail the top 10. And this is a very throwback style point system to match the fact that we're doing a bit of a throwback style season where we're not having stages, we're having a pretty simple playoff format. So it's really interesting to see just how spread out everybody looks, but how close together they might actually be when you consider they're earning nearly 200 points to win a race, and it's all kind of that throwback style thing where you get multiple points per position.
I really love it. It's a really simplistic way to do this, very easy to understand for you fans and for us here in the booth. So it's just all these top 16, Peyton Howell, the last one in, Colin Terrell, Alfie Sharon Jr., Ryan Dingler, just right outside the bubble. So it's going to be something that we're going to look out all season long as we get mounted up to these playoffs.
That's a look at season standings. How about the season schedule? Daytona kicked things off last week on October 9th. It's October 16th here at Bristol. Next week, it's October 23rd. We'll be going to Coda for the Circuit of the Americas for 34 laps of racing. Kind of crazy, going from one of the biggest ovals to one of the smallest ovals, to one of the biggest road courses to an intermediate, a couple of intermediates back-to-back, to a short track. And it just goes on from there. It's a really interesting mix of racetracks to begin this season, and boy, it's to keep these drivers on their toes for sure this opening month or so of this series. But Bristol this evening, Coda next week. We'll talk more about all of that after this race. We've got qualifying heading to the racetrack, which means we can break into the sim for the first time this evening and take a look trackside. There we go. Let's look at weather conditions briefly before cars really get to doing anything too crazy. 71 degrees in the air, 75 on track. We are in sunset conditions. It was just the dark, a complete dark of night in practice, and it reset a little bit for qualifying. So these guys are going to get a little more heat in the track, very little, but a little bit of that residual heat in the track, I think, to start this race, and it should cool down a little as the race goes on. Edward Jurgen, first car to turn a lap time, and that'll be car 92 going straight up to the top. Now Spencer Ray in the 61 car, a new paint scheme for him, and you'll notice a lot of these drivers, what we couldn't do earlier was show you these graphics, because tonight's race is the Van Lilly Stickers 250 benefiting breast cancer awareness. You'll see a lot of pink paint schemes out in the field this evening. Spencer Ray, one of the bunch. There you go. Ian Brasfield's got some pink on his car, and we'll just look throughout the field and see who does and who doesn't, but a lot of cars will be adorning that pink color.
I love it. I love the support. It's a huge month. Any way you can support, absolutely do that. Brian Wirtz, top of the charts right now with a 14.28 right there, followed by Daniel Wiles, and then the 61 of Spencer Ray. Looking along here with Ryan Dingler. Talked about him a lot last week with he was one of our picks, and he ended up being the driver of the race there. And so he just put his lap down. He'll settle in at 8th for now.
Jeremy Brown, top 10 in points, comes across the line and will complete his qualifying run. Will stay about the 18th position. Christian Lightyear in car 96 will stay 19th. Dalton Tucker and others ahead into the racetrack as Peyton Howell goes to 7th.
Looking along with Peyton Howell there in that 11 car. Going back there.
Ooh, that was faster, but not good enough for pole. Second place, 2/100ths of a second off of pole position.
I was going to say, so close. I was just so keyed in on that lap, but man, he was so close. But Brian Wirtz still holds it. Looking along with this 84 here of Benefil. See what he can put down in that beautiful 84 car. Love that paint scheme. I like all the blue and the orange. Great view here of the driver view. He's getting into that rev limiter, taking the bottom here.
Adam Benefield might be one to watch for pole position this evening. 2 minutes left in qualifying. Benefield might be one to watch and see what he can do. Lap 1 off the bottom of the racetrack. It's a 14.486. That's going to be pretty good. That's already inside the top half of the field. 15th quick, lap 1. Lap number 2, trying to make up 2/10. Exactly 2/10 would put him on pole. Let's see what he's got. Lap number 2, Adam Benefield. It's a 14.486. Well, he's Mr. Consistent at the very least. Does not swing up there for pole position. He will stay down in about the 15th to 17th spot. Here's Andon Mendenhall in the 37. He will go 7th. Brian Rose in the 98 car. He will go 15th. Anthony Masadi will go 19th so far. He's got one more lap at the bank. Here he goes to the start-finish line. He will pick up a little bit. No, he drops. And will stay then in the 19th spot. And oh boy, here comes that hot 21 car. Dalton Tucker, last season's champion. Gotta watch out for him.
Oh, absolutely. He was very high up here in practice. Got to watch out for here. Brian Wirtz has got to be a little bit scared with the 21 out here on the speedway. Running the tie line here, trying to get some extra speed. Something that we're going to see in the race. People are going to run that high line now, but that high line is going to get dangerous. Woo! Getting real close to the wall. Dalton Tucker trying to squeeze out every inch of speed he can put. A 14.4 is going to be his first. See if he can speed that up here on the second, Andrew.
Oh, he was a little high at a turn, too. I don't know if this is going to work out for him. Running through the middle of the racetrack. This might be a little bit off. A little high at a turn 4 as well. Had to jump out of the gas a couple of times. But he is going to pick up a bunch. He's going to go not quite top as Holden McGill will take pole position. Dalton Tucker goes 5th. Holden McGill goes to the top of the board.
Holden McGill just beating out Brian Wirtz by 5/1000ths of a second. It is that close, followed by Peyton Howell, Daniel Wiles, and then the 21 of Dalton Tucker looking along with that 55, putting down a 14.5 there. Going to put him right now in 29th. Going to see if he can pick that up here this second lap.
Rhett Nichols on the racetrack. Car 55, a pretty interesting paint scheme. I like it. And hello. That's a 2.89. That is good for third, I believe. Right as qualifying time expires. I don't know that it counted, though.
I don't think it did. I'm not seeing it here on my charts.
Wow. Right down to the wire for Rhett Nichols, and I don't think that's going to count. He's going to be starting 30th place. A half a second more in qualifying, and he goes third place.
Oh my gosh.
That's unbelievable. Wow. Well, this gives us an opportunity to look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details briefly before going racing. It's a 250 lap race, 6 change sets of tires, 7 total. 65% fuel load means about 90 laps to a tank. 6 setups, no fast fix, up to 3 green-white checkers available. The field is getting ready out in turn 4 to the start-finish line. Let's meet the starting grid, I should say. Holden McGill picking up where he left off at Daytona will start from first position. Brian Wirtz from second. Starting third will be Peyton Howell. Daniel Wiles from fourth spot. Dalton Tucker, last season's champion, will start from fifth. Spencer Ray from sixth. Starting 7th and 8th, that's Brandon Frohnapple and Michael Moultrie. And to complete your top 10, how about Ian Bradsfield and Richard Laning?
Well, then back there is your third place finisher last week of Andon Mendenhall. Then on his outside will be the 27 of Jared Wishon. Then in the 51, that'll be Austin McLaughlin. And then on his outside in 14th position, Alfie Sharon Jr. In 15th, the 05 of Noah Rainwater. And then in 16th, the 16 of Ryan Dingler. The Dingler, I love that. I'm going to start calling him that. Then in 17th, the 17 of Matthew Correa. And then in 18th, 19th, and 20th, we'll have Quentin Lee, Casey Knighton, and Brian Rose to draw out your top half of the field.
21st and 22nd, Sean Boundy, Adam Benefiel. Benefiel, I thought, would be one to watch for in qualifying, but a deep starting spot for him. 22nd in this field of 43. Robert Kahn will start from 23rd. Anthony Basati from 24th spot. 25th and 26th, Michael Matta and Matt Sherry in the 45 car. Starting 27th and 28th, you'll find Russell Black and Hank Casson, who just made the show this evening, just was eligible to run. Nathan Paris and Rhett Nichols complete your top 30.
Start to roll along here, Andrew. We've got a lot of laps to go here.
That we do. Real quick, 31st, 32nd, Kip Easley, Gary Bowman. 33rd, Jeremy Brown. 34th, Matt Lovett. Through the rest of the field, Christian Light, Vincent Short, Cody Ellis, Edward Jurgen, Sean Lodeson, Matthew Taylor, your top 40. Then Grant Peterson, Joseph Tucker, Zach Millett, and Colin Terrell on the back end of the field. I don't think Matthew Montgomery will be joining us. I believe Terrell will in 44th. So a 44-car field this evening at Bristol. That is breaking some barriers, I'd say. 44 cars is a whole awful lot for these guys to have to contend with this evening. That is a big, big number. That's almost unimaginable.
That's a lot of cars on track. We don't even run that now in real life in the Cup Series. I continue to say this to this day, I'm extremely impressed by the turnout for this series. I have never seen a series that consistently has 40 guys. I see regular series that have 20, 25, but 40 to almost 45 is nuts, and it is so awesome to see this many people coming out to this place. And Bristol, man, this is going to be nuts, Andrew.
Going to be a fun day for sure. Holden McGill in car 25 going to bring us to the green flag, I believe, this time by no. We'll get an extra pace lap or two. That's okay. That gives us an extra moment to look over the Whiplash SimCam's race details and once more get accustomed, because this 250 lap race will run as is, no stages. But those 6 change sets of tires, that throws an interesting plan in there for everybody, right? There's a lot of variability with how you can run this race depending on how cautions fall and depending on how much green flag racing we get. You can do a lot of different things. You can try to save tires early. You can try and honestly, you can probably stretch a tire set over the course of 2 fuel runs if you save hard enough, but that might be a little bit a little bit extra. That might be asking a little too much out of the tires, but here we go. The iRacing.com safety car will dip down to the safety, the relative safety of pit lane, and give us an opportunity to go racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's the Van Lille Stickers 250. One lap complete. Holden McGill, Peyton Howell, your top two. Then Brian Wirtz in the third spot. Daniel Wiles fourth. Spencer Ray fifth. 2 laps complete now here at the Madhouse.
Holden McGill really held it out there on the restart there. Fastest lap from him at a 14.45 out in the lead. He's led all of our laps. I believe we only had 3. But man, that was quite a restart. All these guys trying to get down to the bottom. Interesting thing here, that top, while it is, I think, in my opinion, a little bit faster, it will eat up your right front. That's why you're seeing so many guys, Andrew, dive down to the bottom so quick at the beginning of this race.
I call it the Madhouse. I know it's not technically the Madhouse. It's NASCAR's current Madhouse until 2025 when we go back to the true Madhouse at Bowman Gray. But lap 5 here of 250, settling into a run early. And if we look through the field, let's let the whole field cycle by this time one more time. Look at that. A lot of single file out front, some side by side in the middle, a lot more single file, and some 2 wide here and there in the back of the field. Everybody just settling in early. I say that, then Brian Wirtz goes to the inside of Howell for second.
Peyton Howell going to try to put the crossover on him here. Momentum out of 3, but it won't be enough. He'll settle back into 4th. That's 61 of Spencer Ray, pounding the bumper of Daniel Wiles.
It's difficult to do here, but you've got to grab yourself a second to breathe because these laps fly by in an instant. 14 seconds apiece when they're racing like this, and boy, do they click off in a hurry. Sean Bounty fastest that time at a 14.396. It happens quick here at Bristol, and Michael Moultrie is looking to quickly move up through this field, looking at Dalton Tucker ahead of him as we start to race a little more side-by-side in the top 10.
That here in the top 10, looking along in that GM. Oh, that's Spencer Ray. That's Matthew Moultrie there, trying to move on that high line in the 29. Beautiful. I love that paint scheme. That is a beautiful number. Moving into that high line, again, that's going to use up a little bit more tire. So these guys, it's really going to be looking here, Andrew, who's going to be able to save the most on this run. Because I think we're going to go caution-free for a while.
That's the hope, right? And we'll knock on wood for it because we would like to see some green flag racing this evening, as we're seeing now. Dalton Tucker moving around on the top side, trying to go forward. We've already lost a second to Holden McGill. McGill's out there by a second and change. Tucker, though, starting to eat into that race lead. As soon as he got on the top side, he went forward. He brings Michael Moultrie. And this is an interesting little perspective to look at because you've got some drivers opting to go high and burn their tires up. Some drivers opting to stay low and save their stuff. And you can do either thing. You can do both even and mix it up a little bit throughout the course of the run. But it's a little bit like watching guys in a Cars Tour race. Some will go early, some will save. And you'll see 2 different packs almost of guys who want to run their stuff and try and hold on to track position for later, and guys who end up saving their stuff to try and fly back through the field. Caution number 1 on the racetrack.
So much for going green. We're going to figure out what happened here. But like you said, talking about the top versus the bottom, I ran a race like this pretty recently in a league race, and I got up on the top at the beginning of the race, and I was absolutely moving, chalking up into the top 5. And then we got in about 30 laps into the run, 35, and I just started falling like a rock. And I was saving on the top too, so it is more aggressive on that right front. So it's really deciding about when to give and when to take.
Oh, we had a bit of a pile up here, including the 92 of Edward Jurgen. Whoa, hello, what is happening here?
Oh, man.
Cars piling in. Rhett Nichols there at the end.
Yeah, I think that was Rhett Nichols running into that 92. Man, Edward Jurgen having 2 hard weeks in a row already. He was hoping to have a clean night tonight. He had a good qualifying. Wasn't too bad. Oh, looks like something happened there with the 41 and the 95. Edward Jurgen piles in, and so does Rhett Nichols.
Man, Jurgen, Brown, and Lodison have had a rough couple of weeks to get the season started. Let's see how this started, though, with the 41 on the inside. That's Lovett getting turned around by the 95 car. And that 95 is Vincent Short. And
looks like
that
Vincent Short Yeah,
Wow.
looks like he just came off the wall there, and a car was down there.
Pretty much. That's a good way to put it. Oh, he got loose. That's what it was. That makes a lot more sense now. Seeing it from that perspective, you can see him get loose and just come down and clip the 41 car. And everybody stacks up. It's hard to get stopped here in one of these cars at Bristol. It happens so fast. And that is caution number 1.
It's really easy to get loose off of the exit of 2 and 4. You go from your 24 degrees, and these straightaways aren't flat, but they are pretty flat themselves. I believe they only have 4 or 5 degrees of banking, so the car gets really light on the exit of those corners when you're moving in such a degree of banking. You're keeping the same speed though. You're getting on the loud pedal, so it's really easy for the car to get light and rear to spin around.
While we work under this caution flag period, I want to take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. This is an early look at what's going on in the next week or couple of weeks of racing for us and broadcasting for us. Sunday evening, it's out to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the Icon Cup Series. Wednesday, it's back to Sim Rap Market Series racing. We go to Circuit of the Americas on October the 23rd. That's round 3 here for this series. And then Sunday, October 27th, we go racing at Homestead Miami Speedway with the Icon Cup Series. This week at Las Vegas will be an elimination race for them. It'll eliminate 4 more drivers out of the round of 8 to set up for the round of 4. The round of 4 does not conclude at Homestead. It concludes at Phoenix because there will be 3 races in that final round, Homestead, Martinsville, and Phoenix, to conclude the season and crown a champion. It's worth tuning into for everybody tuning in this evening, catching Sim Rap Market Series action. You're going to want to catch the back end of the Icon Cup Series here in 2024 as well, and that crossover will be a lot of fun to see as this season gets wrapped up. We're only getting started though here in the Sim Rap Market Series. We're going to get this race restarted with Holden McGill out front and Dalton Tucker on the inside for second. Spencer Ray is going to restart 4th, Brian Wirtz 5th. In between, that's Michael Moultrie in the Kevin Harvick 29 car. Green flag comes back out in the Van Lilly Stickers 250 at Bristol. One car still on the inside. That was Correa in the 17. But 1 lap is complete here at Bristol off the restart.
Correa, 11 laps down there. He must have had issues. You see him riding around there in the back on the bottom. So he had damage from earlier, I imagine. But 11 laps down up here at the front. Holden McGill, then that 61 of Spencer Ray, followed by that pink car of Dalton Tucker.
A lot of pink cars here at the front. Every lap this evening will go to support breast cancer awareness. There will be a donation made for every lap completed tonight, which starts out at 250, but we could get some green-white checkers. You never know.
Oh, I can't even imagine at this place at Bristol. These guys race pretty clean, but again, this is the Coliseum, and we've already seen the caution. These guys later on as we go, they're going to get more and more aggressive. Whoa, Spencer Ray getting loose there off of 4.
Lead change. Here comes Dalton Tucker out front. He is getting moving and goes right on by Holden McGill on the inside. Again, you're seeing a difference in who wants to go and who wants to save.
Well, Holden McGill had a second lead earlier before that first caution. You got to ask, is he saving right now, or did he use up a little bit too much earlier? That's a good question.
I think right now what you're seeing is just a difference in line. The top side is faster outright for a while until the tires fall away. The bottom line is a little bit safer, but a little bit slower here to get the run going. And I think we're just going to see this difference as the night goes on, change and see who likes what lane. And comers and goers, I think, might be part of the story.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. I think it's exactly that. You got the 29 of Moultrie up 6 positions there, still running that high line even though he's single file. So, and same with Dalton Tucker up in the lead. It's just a difference of what feels best for you. And I like the high line. And as you see, now the 21 goes low.
First little bit of racing going to happen back here with Jared O'Shawn and Ian Brasfield. O'Shawn now gets clear of the, who is that on the inside? That's not Dingler. I'm trying to find, that's a lap car. It's a 58 car actually, so that's not a bit of side-by-side racing. That is the 58.
He's in 11th position right now.
Oh, you're right. Okay, Richard Lanning. I'm sorry. That's Richard Lanning down there. I completely missed him on timing and scoring, but you're right. That is 4 position. Lanning is sliding back now behind Dingler.
A lot of people this run, Andrew. Now a lot of people have moved up to the top. We saw in that first 19-lap run, everyone was on the bottom. Now we got a lot of people on the top here moving around.
A lot more drivers getting used to the top side of the racetrack now to get this run in, potentially. And again, these guys control their destiny this evening. We don't see many races of this style go green, or I should say go open like this for 250 laps and just be a straight up race with no stages. We're so used to now stage racing and racing to a certain mark and having a pit cycle, racing to another certain mark, having another pit cycle. So this open race of 250 laps here is a little bit weird, I'm going to be honest. It's a little bit jarring trying to get back used to this kind of thing as Andon Mendenhall races with Peyton Howell, this for the 6th position. Howell goes on by, it looks like, or is that Mendenhall trying to make the pass? I can't really tell, because Mendenhall is up top but slowing down.
Well, you bring up a topic of conversation there is looking at Mendenhall. Man, so close to the wall there. Great, gaining great speed in that pink 37, but you talked about it. Going green, no stages. What I think about then, green flag pit stops. Are we going to see them tonight? If we go green, we're going to have to. And how's that going to work out for these drivers?
It's a big possibility that we get green flag pit stops this evening, as you see an army of drivers running the top side with Peyton Howell running the bottom and driving away. Howell is just that good right now down low, and this might be where the top side plateaus and starts to fall off.
Well, we're seeing right now 14.8s, 14.9s, guys running about that 14 to 15 range right around there, so haven't been moving around too much.
Oh, here's a change up. The 29 goes low, the 25 goes high, but Gill works the middle of the racetrack. It's a big run here for turn number 1. Dives to the inside of Moultrie, who goes high to defend. A big-time switch up in lanes for those two drivers. And it doesn't really get us anywhere. They get back in line and get single file again. But our leader, Dalton Tucker, has got lap traffic.
Well, I was just about to say, with 44 cars in this field, we are going to keep lap traffic very soon. And now we already have passing that 20 car there, who was involved in the incident earlier. That's Colin Tyrrell.
Colin Tyrrell going a lap down. And that'll actually be potentially 2 laps down for Colin Tyrrell. Caution. Somewhere.
It's a small track. I feel like we'll be able to find it, but man, we got another. I think that was another 20-lap run-in. So we've had about 2 20-lap runs. I've got the 82 over the radio, wondering if there was an incident involving him. Brian Wirtz, he's in 5th, so I imagine it wasn't him.
My timing and scoring is it's all happening so fast. It's lagging back, but this will be a look at it with Quentin Lee in the 2 car. He was down around the 15th spot, it looks like, and the 42 had a problem.
Oh, big check up there, and the 2 had nowhere to go. Spun down to the bottom. Wonder what happened there with the 42.
Well, we're about to find out what happened to the 42 car. That is Hank Caston. Made the show this evening. Brian Rose gets him turned around, just a little bit of contact there in the middle part of the corner. I said these guys are around 15. I think they were a little bit deeper, around 20th to 30th spot when this all happened.
Well, the mid-pack is usually where the hardest battles are fought. I mean, it can get so crazy back in there. We're getting another view here. Looking at that 42 car and right behind him that pink and blue 98.
This is a lap before it happens. Noah Rainwater there on the inside of the 05 car. Rainwater runs 18, so that kind of tells you where this happened.
Right exactly in the mid-pack. Looked like, did the 42 catch the wall there?
I think so. I think so.
It looked like that slowed him down, and the 98 just had a little bit more speed. The 2 was an innocent victim.
Well, this gives us pit stops now, as you see Jurgen backing up into his pit box. This brings Caston down the pit lane.
be some required repair there. It's so tough when you get damage around this place. I remember I think I spun out and hit the wall, and I had like 6 minutes of repair because I spun out off of 4. And once you want to avoid the wall at all costs tonight, because there's no fast repairs tonight. Any damage you get, you have to fix in the proper amount of time on pit road, and those times can take long. You will go many laps down, even under caution.
We see our first batch of pit stops with Peyton Howell pitting. He comes in for service and will be the first car back on the racetrack, it looks like, in the 11th spot, right behind Grant Peterson in the 52 car. So a little bit different now of a structure of race. That's going to be what looks like a 4-tire pit stop as well. 14 seconds. That's indicative of 4 tires and fuel. So it's interesting that he's out first. Dalton Tucker, previous race leader, is going to line up 12th, it looks like.
Well, everyone from 11th on back is pitted. Only your top 10 have stayed out.
Holden McGill stays out. Spencer Ray, Ryan Dingler, Brandon Frohnapple, Matt Cherry, Sean Boundy, your top 6 in your first 3 rows. Noah Rainwater, Brian Rose, Grant Peterson, and Kip Easley, it looks like, also stay out under this caution, and will come around and get the restart here. Waiting on that signal from the starter stand. Green flag is out. A big restart for the bottom side. Spencer Ray gets clear to second. The Dingler sits back in 3rd spot. You've got Brandon Frohnapple in 4th. Sean Boundy 5th, and Noah Rainwater's already getting eaten up by some of those clean tires, those brand new tires on the 11 car moving forward.
At 52, Grant Peterson stayed out. He's up 34 positions from the start of this race. Looking at that 11 car there, and 2 wide, so far back.
On the bottom side on new tires, boy does it move compared to the outside lane. This is our first good look at new versus old rubber on these race cars. And boy, is it moving. Howell just surges ahead in the corner. And the top lane still gets a good run on corner exit, but look at the gains he's getting running down low.
Right now, Peyton Howell running a 14.4. Meanwhile, your leader is running a 14.9. Holden McGill and Spencer Ray, I think they're having a battle.
And Ray's going to win it as the caution comes out.
At 61, RC Cola car snuck in the lead over Holden McGill. Meanwhile, there's an incident in the back. I think is that the 4 and the 20?
That's what it looks like, at least checking up for it. We'll see if they were involved in it.
Also, the 42 of Hank Caston drove through too many pit boxes on his pit, sent to the back.
Try and back it up and see what happened. Bear with me 1 second.
Matthew Taylor is that beautiful green, white, and red machine there. Still looking around for this caution. Something happened. I was wondering if it was those 2 cars, but clearly it wasn't. We're gonna find it. So many cars to go through.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Making my job a lot harder, but that's okay.
We're going to figure it out. Meanwhile, Spencer Ray took the lead here. Ryan Dingler now up into 2nd. The Dingler. I love it. I'm never going to stop saying it because it's so much fun. After last week. Whoa!
Oh, there was a checkup ahead of these guys.
Man, that was almost 4 wide there.
I was still working to find the car that was actually spun.
Yeah, normally it's a lot. Was it even somebody spinning at all, or was it somebody getting sideways? Because they're normally pretty obvious. But
I'm still waiting to see where somebody actually spun around here. I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing anything either. Well, viewers, hey, is this week's mystery caution?
Now, that's a tradition we don't want, but we do work past a fifth of the way into this race, so we can pose that trivia question, I suppose.
Oh yeah. Are you ready for it?
Sure. Let's get the question now, and we have all race to get some answers in. And the first
right.
person to answer correctly will get the voucher. And we will leave it up. We won't give the answer out. We'll leave up the question in the YouTube chat. I'll even post the question, pin the comment. That'll be tonight's Scott's trivia question.
Yeah, all right. This one, I looked up some odd facts of a certain place. In what year did Bristol host an NFL game between the Washington Redskins and Philadelphia Eagles?
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know they ever did.
Yeah,
that's
they
a really good
quite
question.
a few NFL games. Meanwhile, I think next year they're hosting an MLB game.
Yes, they are. Between the Cincinnati Reds and Atlanta Braves. Well, cars 61 and 16 are going to lead us to the green flag this time around, and that's Scott's trivia question for the YouTube chat. In the meantime, we're going to get this race restarted next time by. The caution, the restart rather, has been called off. We'll go one more time around. Another surge of pit stops this time around, including Jared Wishon, Matt Cherry, Kip Easley, Cody Ellis, Sean Ludeson, Brandon Fronapple, Matt Lovett, Noah Rainwater, Matthew Taylor, and some others. Up front, we still have about 6 cars that have not pitted at all. Spencer Ray, Ryan Dingler, Holden McGill, Brian Rose, Sean Bounty, Grant Peterson have not yet pitted in this race at all. They're saving their stuff, saving their tires, but eventually their fuel will run out and they will have to pit. But they can make it at this point pretty close to halfway, I think, with these cautions coming out. They could probably make it pretty close to halfway before having to pit, which is pretty crazy to think about. Here we go. Restart zone, and that's a big jump and restart for the 61. Here comes Peyton Howell. He gets trapped in traffic, but he's trying to get by and will do so now on the inside lane. There he goes. Peyton Howell through to second position and is going to chase down Spencer Ray. I think it's going to happen relatively quickly. He's the first car on new tires. He gets held up, though, next to the Dingler.
Dingler is not going to let him go so easily. I think he's going to get him around here now. He's going to slide up off of turn 2 there. Now he's on the hunt for that 61 Spencer Ray. All these guys with fresher tires being able to cruise through this field.
Caution. What's that saying? Cautions breed cautions?
I think I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty common.
Once again, this had to have happened quickly. I don't see a car stopped, which makes it difficult. When there's not a car stopped, when it happens that quickly, it's really tough to find where it actually happened. Let's go on board with one car. This is Matt Lovett, and just watch.
Man, that is such a cool. So cool. That camera is so cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was the 42.
What a view that was. Hank Caston going around and smashing into the outside wall. That might be his day done.
I was going to say, he probably had a poor driving car there, and had a little loose spin there. Did I just make up a word? Spin?
I think so. I think so. Here's the 42 car racing right behind Noah Rainwater and some of those other drivers that had just pitted. So tail end of the field. And he just gets loose off of turn number 2, overcorrects, boom, up the racetrack, gets a little bit of help from Lovett, and that's that.
Man, yeah, that's a heavy impact there. That might be day done. I mean, he's going to have a lot of time on pit road to repair that, along with his incident earlier where he got hit by the 98 when he tagged the wall.
Another round of caution laps, another round of staying out for Spencer Ray and company. I like this strategy. Stay on the racetrack as long as you possibly can. I like this. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I like that they're doing something a little bit different. They're not going with the traditional pit every caution. These guys are going to have so many tires saved up in the bank. They're not going to know what to do with them.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, they have 6 sets total. A lot of these guys have already used one, so most of them have 5 left. It'll be really, really handy to have an extra set of tires in the pits if we keep getting cautions like this near the end of the race, Andrew.
So again, we're posing that question out in the chat. In what year did Bristol host an NFL game between Washington and Philadelphia? In what year did that happen? I wish I could guess, because I'd love to take a stab at it.
Oh, crud. I'll let you guess.
Oh, man. That is still just crazy to me that sorry, I was reading one thing and looking at another, that they even hosted a game here.
I know. Well, the infield, we think about the infield, we always say the infield is so small. Look at how the hauler drivers can pack the trucks in. But when you take all the haulers out, it's big enough for a football field. And they've already got the Jumbotron. Yeah,
you can see the football field there as well. I guess a mock version of it in the garage area. I know they had the college game years back with the Tennessee Volunteers, but man, I had no clue NFL games were held here. I guess it makes sense, right? It's maybe a little bit of a far cry from a sideline seat, but down along the bottom of the field, I guess the bottom of the stands closest to the field might be a decent seat to watch a football game. You never know, but a new perspective potentially. Adam Benefield has his guess in the chat. I don't know if he's eligible. He's a driver. He's not just a fan. I don't know if he's eligible. So I'm gonna stress again that we're not gonna reveal the answer until later in the race. But this is for fans. For fans to guess. I don't know if drivers are eligible.
Hey, look, the drivers are not this kind. That's so funny. I didn't even think of that possibility.
Well, I didn't think that he'd be commenting on the broadcast as a driver in the race, but Adam Benefield, man, he's doing it all.
Yeah, normally I'm pretty focused at the wheel. Meanwhile, the 41, we saw him, Matt Lovett, earlier, right behind the 42 when he spun. He drove through too many boxes on pit road, Andrew.
That's a penalty. Pit road police are going to get him. But here we go. We're going to get this race restarted on lap 67 of 250. It'll be 68 this time out of turn number 4. The Van Lilly Stickers 250 is back underway at Bristol Motor Speedway. Here comes Peyton Howell. Right on the back end of Spencer Ray into turn 1. That time by, and he's going to go right on by Spencer Ray. About has him cleared, shuts the door on the 61 car there out of turn number 2. That was a nice move to get by the 61.
And Spencer Ray had the lift there off of turn 2 there as to not get into the back of Peyton Howell. Oh, we got 3 wide in the back and a Mendenhall on the top.
Brian Wirtz in the middle and Jeremy Brown down low in that 07 car. What in the world is going on here? It's been a lot of covering the leaders tonight, but for the first time, the lead situation is relatively simple. Peyton Howell's out front on brand new tires. We can focus back in the field a little bit and see what's going on behind those guys as, oh my gosh, Millet, Masati, Brown, Tucker, Wirtz, all kinds of drivers on all different strategies right in the middle of the field.
I'll tell you, this is where the racing is the toughest. It is so hard to battle back in this mid-pack here. On the bottom here, looking along with Jeremy Brown in this 07 car. On his outside is Anthony Masati.
Mendenhall now with trouble to the inside as he gets the outside wall. That's the 75 of Nathan Paris carrying the banner for Panto Racing this season. He has been really, really good. The rest of the team, I think, looking for what they can find to get up there with him. But the Panto Racing bunch, I think, very proud of Nathan Paris this evening as we'll get 3 wide behind him. Whoa, Brian Wirtz, that was close. Oh my gosh, Brian Wirtz, Dalton Tucker, Anthony Masati, that was so close in the background.
This is a place that really gets your heart rate up. Man, Brian Wirtz
Caution.
to get a little bit scared there. Caution is out. I'm surprised it wasn't for that right there. That was so close to being an incident.
Well, the 20 car was in the pit lane recently. I don't think he was the caution. But he might have had a view of it.
Yeah, it worked out really well for us last time.
Oh, hello. He gets a little sideways. Tell me that was the yellow.
I don't know. I mean, right after that, right after he slowed down, I don't know if that would have cost him. Unless race control thought he was about to go around and threw it.
Well, we've got pit stops. Here comes Dingler. Here comes Boundy. Here comes several cars down the pit lane. Brian Rose is in. Spencer Ray is in. That's important. Holden McGill's in.
Grant Peterson as well.
A lot of drivers coming in with this yellow that I did not expect to come in just yet. A lot of drivers coming in for a second time now as Spencer Ray makes his first stop.
Not a bad call, like you said, doing something different. I do like it. I think they could have gone one run a little longer. I think they were doing pretty good at holding position up there in the front. You know, it gets so tangled back there with the top 10 and back. It's really, guys get jumbled up and don't make passes so fast, even when they have those fresher tires. So would have expected them to pit maybe one caution later, but still, I think they're on a good strategy here.
Brian Rose, it looks like, might be first back on the racetrack. No, actually, that'll be, well, yeah, Brian Rose and Spencer Ray. Rose took full service, I think. I'm a little surprised that he's first back out. I think the big variable this evening under caution pit stops will be turns 3 and 4, because these guys are running the dual pit lane, which is active as a dual pit lane, 2 different pit lanes all race long. Meaning you can speed a little bit in the transition from one pit lane to the other. And I think that's where time has to be maximized. And I wonder if maybe that is why these guys... I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of as to why Brian Rose would have gone from deeper in the field to take full service and still be first back out. That's all I can think of.
Well, I'm not sure either, because his time on pit lane is 35 seconds and his time in the box is 14, so that is full service there. But hey, it worked out for him, however it did.
It's interesting too, because Spencer Ray actually only had 28 seconds in the pit lane. So make that make sense. I'm not sure how that ends up happening, but we'll get one more time around under this caution flag period and then go back racing, it looks like, on lap 83 of 250.
Look at that. And in Mendenhall. What a great drive. Up 9 positions so far. Top 3 last week. Looking to stay up here up front in that pink 37.
Ryan Reese chiming in with his vote on the trivia question answer. Again, this is for $25 to IMB Racewear. So there's a very good reason to leave your vote, even if it's a complete guess. A complete and utter guess is okay with us. Just submit your vote if you're over here watching on YouTube, even if you wouldn't usually. Hey, maybe this is the time to start.
I figured out why we couldn't find the caution. Our awesome guy in race control, Dylan Hale, told us it was a debris caution. They had forgotten to turn off that setting for race control. So iRacing had thrown it.
Oh, how interesting.
I did not know debris caution was possible in racing. I thought you went through them all.
Well, here we go. Green flag back in the air, and the Van Lilly stickers 250. Up onto the back straightaway and back down to turn number 3. Howell, Mendenhall, everybody else. Masadi Paris, Tucker, your top 5.
Man, Jeremy Brown gets a good slice of the wall there, up in 7th place. Still holds it on the top line against Zach Miller.
Meanwhile, right in front of him, Brian Words tries to get the 5th spot away from Dalton Tucker. Words running the outside lane. Tucker running the inside. And they're nearly coming together each time off the corner.
Man, Brian Words so close to the wall on exit. Oh my goodness. Dalton Tucker just can't quite clear. He will now. He'll shift it off into the corner. And
what a crossover.
That was beautiful.
What a crossover there from Brian Words. Meanwhile, for the race lead, here we go. Masadi pulling up. Mendenhall pulling up. They're all on the back end of Peyton Howell.
Masadi there looks a little sideways off of turn 2. Battling for 4th on the outside of Nathan Paris.
Paris pulled around the outside lane, going to take that 3rd spot away from Masadi. It's been a story of short runs the last 50 laps or so. We had decent racing to get this thing started and get a lot of laps in early. But since then, things have kind of slowed down a little bit. Could this be the beginning of a new green flag run, potentially, where these guys have to manage their stuff? Well, Mendenhall is getting right to the grindstone and using that top lane to try and get all the time he can out of his 37 car.
He's running almost identical lap times as the leader of Peyton Howell. Meanwhile, Nathan Paris also running a 14.56. Really impressed by that 75 car there, up 26 spots from the start of this race entry.
And you can just see Paris there in the rear-facing camera here from the 37 of Mendenhall. There you see the 75 right behind. These guys continue to work on Peyton Howell for the race lead. Howell down low, the rest of them running up high.
Peyton Howell will be saving more tire down there than the rest of these guys. Nathan Paris trying to go for it on the bottom. Then, meanwhile, Dalton Tucker will head for him on the bottom.
Tucker trying to take that spot away. Nearly had it that time around in 1 and 2, but it wasn't meant to be just yet. He's going to have to work at it as he gets real free off the corner. That was a big save for Tucker. A big catch of the hands. And he hangs on to that race car. Masadi sits right behind him. Then Brian Words. Jeremy Brown sits back in the 7th spot. 8th is Zach Millett. 9th, Daniel Wiles. 10th, Jared Washon. Then everything gets single file and a little bit more spread out, but there is a fight right behind with Kip Easley and Adam Benefield. They run side by side. Benefield, of course, made his vote on the trivia question a little bit ago. Pulling double duty, a fan and a driver.
I was going to say, a lot of these drivers watching along with the broadcast. I don't know how they're doing that. Meanwhile, look, Brian Rose is 22nd. He's moved up since the restart, and Spencer Ray is just behind him, looking along with the 84 car here, trying to work into the top 10.
There's Spencer Ray trying to go by Brian Rhodes. This is an important pass. This is to be the first of the drivers that pitted under that most recent caution. And Spencer Ray is trying to get that away. He could be a contender for the race win this evening. He was really strong that opening stint until he pitted. Really strong even on old tires. So watch for this 61 car tonight. If he can cycle himself back out to the front at some point, he might have a really good car and could contend for this race win as we approach lap 100. Cautions out. Whoa, 3-4 wide, right behind and around Edward Jurgen. Grant Peterson gets a piece of Sean Lodison. What is happening here?
Man, they are still sideways even when we picked it up.
I'm going to struggle to find cautions tonight, but I think I found it. I think it's going to be Vincent Short in the 95 car. It's actually going to be Sean Boundy in the 34. He comes from that group with Lodison and, or Jurgen rather, and got tipped up the racetrack by Christian Light, got loose, comes down, gets tipped by, I believe, the 4 car, or was that the 20?
Couldn't see there. Very similar paint scheme there. But man, 3 wide, it can get dicey.
Watch this back. Driver out of California. racing with Christian Light right behind. Ryan Dingler on the inside. Grant Peterson there as well. Just got tipped into turn 1. That was turn 3, rather.
That was the 20 car that gave him the final touch to get him around. The 4 car was right in front.
Well, another caution period, another opportunity then to take a look at our supplementary graphics. In this case, want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to our partners with the series. SimWrapMarket.com, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moser Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, and Cyber Edge Hosting. And to talk a little bit about Van Lille stickers, because this is the Van Lille Stickers 250. Van Lille Stickers is this week's partner, and they are small and family owned. They offer a bunch of crafted services and such. Definitely check out everything they've got to offer on their Etsy shop. Give me 1 second to find the link there. VanLillieStickers.etsy.com. VanLilliesStickers.etsy.com. That's VANLILYS stickers.etsy.com. And looks like they even have a website of VanLilliesStickers.com, but their Etsy shop should take care of things for you as well. Always good to have these kind of partners in sim racing, these local family-owned shops and whatnot, family-owned businesses that are just trying to get by in today's society, today's world, and boy, it's difficult. It is so difficult as a family-owned company to get by in 2024. You've got to support Van Lille Stickers and everything they have to offer. Their Etsy and their website, VanLilliesStickers.etsy.com, VanLilliesStickers.com.
Plus, who doesn't love stickers? Come on. I love stickers.
Are you the kind of guy that has stickers all over your laptop?
I've got a few, but they don't overlap though, because I like to show what I've got. I also have a pantry case that me and my roommate have that is filled with tons of cool stickers. I don't know why we decided a pantry case, but we did.
I do like stickers.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody likes stickers.
Oh, man. Well, we're about to go back green flag racing inside of 150 laps to go. Got the first 100 complete.
More cautions than I thought for this group. But again, this is Bristol, so I'm not terribly surprised because like we've seen all tonight, Andrew, we had 6 cautions for 35 laps and 4 lead changes, but it has been some hectic racing out here, and that's what Bristol can produce. I mean, there's not a lot of room here.
Let's get this race restarted. Peyton Howell outside, green flag, back in the air, the Van Lille Stickers 250. And in Mendenhall with trouble here, that's going to be Anthony Massotti to his inside. Dalton Tucker's pulling up as well. Tucker's back in this thing.
Mendenhall got a little bite of the wall there. Anthony Massotti is trying to attack. Meanwhile, Dalton Tucker's trying to get on the outside of Massotti.
Caution. Oh, man.
This could be a long night.
Looks like it might be trouble for Sean Lodison in the 24 car. He has had an abysmal start to this season. Oh, and yes, it was involving Lodison. This is a late look. Christian Light also involved in the 96 car.
Well, Lodison was running well last week, involved in an incident midway through Daytona. Looking back here, what happened in that pink 24 car?
Christian Light there on the inside lane. Lodison outside. Does one get loose, maybe? Oh, Lodison gets the wall, comes down, and just tags the 96.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Lodison snags the wall there right off of 2. Comes down a little bit, and the 96 left a good margin of a lane, but just got slight contact with the 24, and that was enough to spin him around.
Trying to get an onboard view with Christian Light. And we'll get it here. He took a pretty big hit to the outside wall.
Yeah, and he backed into the wall pretty hard too there, down on the apron. Man, almost got loose there. It is so easy to get loose off of these corners, Andrew. Oh yeah, he had no idea. There's nothing Christian Light could have done to avoid that one. Backs it. Oh man, huge hit there to the inside retaining wall.
He now sits in the pit lane waiting for, well, receiving the service, along with Vincent Short there in the 95 car. Short's going to pull away. And this leaves Peyton Howell on the racetrack as the race leader. Well, make your pick now. We've had a little bit of racing. We're nearly halfway. Make your pick now on who goes to victory lane.
Man, it is tough. We've seen 2 different groups up front. We've seen the group who pitted, the 30 who pitted first, and then the 6 who pitted after. I mean, Peyton Howell has been very strong. He's held off Andon Mendenhall and Dalton Tucker, but Dalton Tucker has been up front even after he pitted. I'm going to go with Tucker.
Dalton Tucker is a solid option. Peyton Howell feels strong this evening. Anthony Mossadi is there. Spencer Ray has been fun to talk about. Daniel Wiles is up here. Andon Mendenhall can't look past that 37 car, who's been so strong as well.
Speaking
a lot of
Spencer
great options.
Ray, he's up to 10th now.
That's why I noticed him. I saw that chrome horn back there. And, man, I can't believe he's back up here. Noah Rainwater's back up here in the 05 car. Look at that. Adam Benefield's in the top 10. Jared Rashawn's in the top 10. So a very strong top 10 about to come around and take the green flag in just a moment. And get this race back underway on lap 115 of 250.
You got to get these drivers get a little nervous every time we have a restart. They got to get it clean into turn 1, and it's not as easy as it looks, folks.
No, it is not. This time off of turn number 4, waiting on the green flag. There it is. Green is back out. A little bit of a jumbled restart, but the Van Lilly Stickers 250 is back green. Zach Millett on the outside lane, working through to the 4th spot. He's trying to move forward in this field. He's been a very interesting driver to me over the last couple of years on iRacing. I know him from the Noble Trans Am style series, the Noble Can-Am series. And that was road courses with late models. And he was an absolute star. To see him here in oval racing in the NASCAR Cup Series car, it's a bit of a different thing for me. But he is really following through and showing what he's made of here. Running in the 4th spot, trying to get away from Dalton Tucker, working on Anthony Mossadi. He looks really good this season in that 31 car.
I was going to say, really impressive. 38 spots from the start of this race. So he is running really strong as we've got caution out yet again.
Another caution flag this evening. Sean Lodison has called it a day. Oh, there it is. That is going to be right behind Matt Lovett now. It's going to involve Matthew Taylor and the 28. The 44 and 28 cars involved. Whoa, there's a much bigger story to tell. Wow.
Whoa, we're going to have to take another look at this. That was a lot going on.
Let's get a full picture here. And we're going to watch this 28 car. It's going to involve a few others. But this should tell us the full extent of the story from high above.
That 28 is...
Oh,
Casey
Taylor
Knight.
got
Oh,
loose.
Taylor.
That was a good catch to keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, that he kept it straight, got back into 3 and 4. Still looking along with Casey Knighton.
Might be right behind the Jumbotron. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Kip
Looks like-
Easley,
Yep.
Easley, Jurgen, and more.
Man, that 44 came and piled in at the end. You know, I've got a fun fact about Matthew Taylor there in that 44. He's been to pit road 17 times and is still on the lead lap.
That's impressive.
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
Here's Kip Easley getting loose. Oh, he gets into Brandon Frohnapple to turn 1, actually. They make contact. Frohnapple. Wow, that's the rest of the story that we missed behind the Jumbotron.
Whoa!
Brasfield, laning. That is a big moment between Easley and Frohnapple, though.
Yeah, Frohnapple, I wonder what damage he's got there. It looked like he didn't hit the wall too hard, but man, he's got a little bit.
Here it is. Frohnapple on the inside. Comes up, tries to shut the door. Easley's there. That's not even on Easley. That's going to have to be all on Frohnapple, unfortunately.
Yeah, he just came up a little bit too early. Easley had nowhere to go. And then that 28 of Casey Knighton, he was on the top. He had nowhere to go either.
Well, this will bring us right to the halfway point in this race, which feels like a really good time to pit. Now, last night we had the Sim Auto Racing Association, or SARA, as I call it. I think league members call it SARA. The SARA 18 Racing Media National Tour Myrtle Beach 400. Say that 5 times fast. But they had the Myrtle Beach 400 for the Sim Auto Racing Association. And I bring this up because it was also a 250-lap short track race. Granted, it was at Myrtle Beach Speedway with late model stock cars, and they had a halfway break. Now, a caution came out at like 122 or 123, just like this, to bring out a caution right before halfway. That counts as the halfway break. But those guys only had one set of tires, one change set. They took them all on that halfway break, bolted those tires on, ran them for the second half of the race, and that was that. It was a pretty cut and dry strategy and just a matter of maintaining their stuff, saving their stuff for late in the race. Here, I mentioned it might be a good time to come in and pit, and I truly think it is. But they're not bolted into that same strategy. They have all kinds of freedom here. They could have pitted on any of the cautions prior, any of the cautions coming up, and a lot of these guys now have been on the racetrack for 80 laps after pitting for the first time. 82, 81 is what I'm seeing in the top 10. Spencer Ray's got the youngest tires at 47 laps old. Very different sets of strategies, and Ray is the shining star of those drivers that pitted 47 laps ago, by the way, because there's a lot of 70s and 80s right behind him until you get back down to Brian Rose at 13th and Grant Peterson at 14th spot. So tire strategy, man, it's crazy how different it is from two short track races to each other. As we enter the Geico restart zone one more time and get this race restarted, we're back green at Bristol. Michael Moultrie, a move on the inside lane, made it 3 wide into turn number 3. He works to the inside of Noah Rainwater, and that is the 45 of Matt Cherry there as well.
We're trying to make some big moves there. I like what these guys did, some of them to stay out, because not everyone is like Spencer Ray and can drive up through this field.
Track position is half the battle here at Bristol, if not more. I mean, that is just so important to have track position and hang on to that track position and defend, run the top side, and just log laps here. It's so mega important as Howell actually runs the bottom as the race leader. You can see him wrapping that bottom perfectly, pops back up on the straightaway, dives right back down. I mean, he is running the epitome of the line at Bristol.
I mean, he's running a 14.6, so only 2/10 off of fastest lap that you would run.
Gets the wall.
Gets the wall a little bit there, but still running fast.
That pulls him back to Mendenhall a little bit. Mendenhall, Millett, and Benefield, your top four. Masadi in fifth, Dalton Tucker, then Spencer Ray in seventh.
First guy with fresh tires in this race is that 61 of Ray, 53 laps old as compared to the rest at 89.
Here's Spencer Ray. On board with him as he runs the top side, kind of the middle through the corners, really. Middle to bottom now, looking to the inside of Dalton Tucker. Benefield's down there on the inside lane, trying to make something work. It's a little loose. As we approach 100 laps to go.
Not a bad line. You see those 4 cars up behind Mendenhall. They're a little slow. Mendenhall might be saving on the top. That's allowing Spencer Ray to move by on the bottom along with Adam Benefield.
Benefield got real free that time off of turn 4. Whoa, Masadi way to the inside. Hang on to it, brother. Oh my gosh, a big hit.
That's going to be day done. Caution is out.
Brian Wirtz is in it. Oh, he's flipped.
Up on the roof. He's up on its roof.
Masadi flipped over in the carnage that is Bristol Motor Speedway. Unbelievable how his race goes from hero to zero in a hurry.
Man, Musadi was running so well. Just see him get loose here right off of turn 2. Almost hits the inside wall, tries to save it, overcorrects and slams into the outside of turn 3.
Matt Peterson got hit hard and just gets tipped over there. Wow, you never see cars flip at Bristol.
No, never. And to be fair, this is iRacing, and the model is really good for the weight of these cars. But sometimes you can just get them in just the right spot. So take another look. Yeah, it just gets loose. Dalton Tucker did nothing wrong, no contact, but man, look at here. Then the 82 of Brian Wirtz, a separate incident right behind. I imagine everyone was checking up, and someone got into Wirtz. Man, that's a lot.
A lot to unpack there. Let's watch it again for the 82 car and everybody back here towards the back of the field that ends up involved in it. And to turn 3 this time. Watch. Oh, Holden McGill was right there for it. Was nearly involved. The 99 of Alfie Sharon Jr. just runs over the 82. The 14 of Robert Kahn gets involved. Sharon gets a big piece. That was the 4, eventually, Cody Ellis, that turns over the 49 of Masadi. Wow.
I did not expect to see someone hit the wall that hard tonight.
That was a big hit. Big crash.
He was really trying to save it. He had it off that inside wall. He kept his foot in it for just a little too long, and he turned back to the right.
A lot of pit stops under this yellow as we break through to the far side of halfway. Adam Benefield leads the charge off the pit lane, followed by Dalton Tucker, Zach Millett, Quentin Lee, and so many more. But those are the highlights, really, of drivers that pitted. They're going to line up 14th on back, so 13 cars stay out to varying degrees of tire wear now. Jeremy Brown's in the top 10 with the newest tires in the top 10, it looks like. Actually, no, that'll go to Sean Boundy at 27 laps old. Then Robert Kahn at 29 laps old. Then Holden McGill and Jeremy Brown each have 38 lap old tires. While Spencer Ray now has 61 lap old tires, matching his car number under this caution flag period. But Peyton Howell and Brandon and Mendenhall are coming up on 100 laps complete. 100 laps complete on a set of tires. These fuel runs are expected to go about 90 laps. Their tires are going to outlast now a fuel run.
Well, earlier I heard the 31 of Zach Millett saving fuel under these cautions. So I imagine Peyton Howell and Mendenhall, some of these other guys have been doing the same. But Peyton Howell, we saw, he was running a 14.6, 14.7, only 0.3 off what you would on fresh tires. So he's been saving pretty well down there on the bottom.
You see I've just circled it on the bottom right of the screen. 5th gear for Peyton Howell. That is important. These guys are absolutely saving what they can under these caution flags. Maybe not saving aggressively. There's been enough cautions to save a significant amount of fuel and extend these runs just a little bit. These tire stints, if you will. There you see. Peyton Howell still in 5th gear. We're going to keep that graphic up as we come to the restart here in a moment. And there we go. That's where he downshifts to 2nd.
And he's getting ready. As much as you might want to save fuel, you cannot restart in 5th.
No, that would not be a good time. That would be a very bad idea. He's actually going to restart here in 1st gear. Let's see how it works out for him. I believe that's the way to go. 1st gear restart. Flying through the gears. We are back green at Bristol Motor Speedway. Spencer Ray and Jared LaShawn going to fight here for 3rd spot.
Tense up when some of these guys get so close to the wall there on the top. Spencer Ray going at it here with Jared Wilson, Jeremy Brown right behind.
LaShawn from Elite Motorsports. He's got his teammate right behind, and Jeremy Brown, who tags the back end of Spencer Ray there on the back straightaway. That was very nearly a crash. Holden McGill now coming up here. Holden McGill is on much newer tires than a lot of these guys.
I was going to say, guess who's back? It's our pole sitter. 44 lap-old tires compared to some of these guys with 190, trying to go around that 07 of Brown.
Brown's been on the racetrack now for some 44 laps as well, so very similar tire strategies between these two. But Brown is just a little bit behind where McGill is, it looks like. McGill sails on by on the bottom side. And who knows, I mean, we tell you these laps these guys pitted on, they might not always take 4 tires. They could take 2, they could take none. They could come in for fuel only. So at a quick glance, we tell you how many laps they've got on their tires as the caution comes out again.
Caution out. We're almost at 100 to go. Looking along here with the 44. He's got some damage. He's been in a few incidents tonight. Is Matthew Taylor. I'm going to check. He has now been on pit road 21 times, and he's now 1 lap down. We're looking along here on that roof cam, trying to see and find the caution here. See what happens.
Big hit for Noah Rainwater in the 05 car. A big hit. And you see that's one of our series partners on that 05 Chevrolet. Noah Rainwater's brother, Luke Rainwater. An inspiration to many, and has Luke's Playhouse Wellness Center and Gym in Lincoln, North Carolina. We had a recent event a recent event to benefit Luke's Playhouse Wellness Center and Gym, and that was back in July. I say recent. That was nearly 3 months ago now. It's crazy how time flies, but it was an honor to be a part of that event and cover that race for Luke's Playhouse. And good to see Noah here this evening. He missed Daytona, so it's good to see that 05 back in the field. But this incident with Vincent Short compounds in a hurry and puts the 05 into the inside wall. Well,
a lot of cautions here.
We have had a significant amount at this point.
But again,
10 cautions for 56 laps.
Yeah. But again, it's Bristol, so for 150 laps, not bad. Not bad at all. I've seen races. I think it was right when I started commentating, and I saw one race one time. I think it might have been my first race, and I don't think we went green for more than 6 laps. It's like a 200 lap race.
I say a significant amount of cautions this evening, but we have had about 100 green flag laps of racing, and 100 green flag laps of racing at Bristol, as long as you're running a shorter race and not running 500, that's a good time. 100 laps of green flag racing is a good time for anybody. We still want that number to go a little bit higher, but regardless, a solid night here at Bristol, and it continues on next week as we go to Circuit of the Americas, a road course where we should have nothing but green flag racing with a course of 34 laps of action. So while we're tight and compounded in on each other here this evening at Bristol, it all changes next week at COTA.
Oh man, like we said, these first 4 races on the schedule couldn't be more different. We'll have the Icon Cup Series coming up this Sunday, nearing the end of this season, as well as next Sunday at Miami Homestead to wrap it on up. Oh, well, to wrap it on up, then they'll have Phoenix. So, but again, Circuit of the Americas, very different. We're going to see who are the road course ringers of Season 2.
Well, let's get this race restarted. You see the field in the restart zone there and on the front stretch now, doubled up, ready to go racing again. Hayden Howell, Andon Mendenhall, Oldham McGill, Jeremy Brown, your top 4, Robert Kahn in 5th. Spencer Ray pitted under this caution and rejoins the field with Jared Wishon down in the 20th spot. Wishon 20th, Ray 21st, Ryan Dingler 22nd, Sean Bowdy 23rd, Cody Ellis 24th, Casey Knighton 25th. A bunch of cars that pitted under this caution. Into the restart zone we'll go one more time at the Last Greek Coliseum. Inside of 100 laps to go. Laps are now waning here at Bristol. Green flag back in the air. Brown and McGill side by side. McGill, Daytona winner, leads the points, and he's fighting to make it back into the top 3.
And yellow is out.
Oh no. Whoa, a big stack 'em up.
God.
Spencer Ray, Jared Wishon, and so many more.
Got Matthew Taylor back in there. Casey Knighton. Matthew Moultrie. One of the few cars. We're supposed to park outside.
Well, let's see what happens here. We're watching Spencer Ray, and oh man, it starts ahead with Russell Black in the 64 car. And all just got worse and worse and worse.
Looked like Ray didn't get too much damage there. He should be okay to continue at his own pace, but I can't say the same for a lot of everybody else that was in that stack up.
Watch Russell Black here in the 64 car from Team Conti Sim Performance. TeamConti.gg there on the side of that car. Got tipped by the 88.
Oh, yeah.
Big
oh,
hit.
man. Yeah, and then the rest of the field, nowhere to go. Everybody's checking up. Nothing you can do.
On board with the 88 of Michael Matta. One of the late additions to the field and eligible to race this evening. Matta going for it on this restart, just gets in the back of Russell Black and sets off this newest chain of chaos. There they go.
Well, Matta, we saw him up front a lot last week before the final wreck we had near the end, but he has not been having the best night tonight. He's been buried in the mid-pack. He's now all the way up to 15th, so I think that's some of the highest he's been all night, but not the best night for Michael Matta.
It's an onboard view for Noah Rainwater. He gets collected in the incident just barely. Really just by hitting the outside wall trying to miss it, but that's a solid view of what happened.
Oh, probably got some of the least damage that a lot of those other guys did. The top was kind of the place to be there.
On board with Jared Wishon.
Jared Wishon, very fresh tires. He was the person with the newest fresh tires Oh, man. Yeah, gets good heavy contact there.
Yeah, those were some big hits for the 27 car.
It looks like he was almost going to get out of it, but not quite.
It's a shame because you play that battle, right, of when do you actually pit, when do you finally come in for tires again, and you go through it and through it and through it, staying out, man, I'm going to keep going, then you finally decide to pit, right, and you're trying to not get caught up in something like that off a restart. You want it to go as calmly as possible, and you just end up choosing the wrong one sometimes, and that restart off that caution that you pitted on, that restart is the one where chaos unfolds, just like we saw there with the big one here. It's so difficult
It's
to
the
just
risk
pick
you
the right
take.
time. It's a big risk you take, but it's so difficult to time that pit stop right.
Oh, exactly. And you got to think, all of these guys, everyone, Jared Wishon just pitted again. He's up in 23rd. Everyone in front of him most likely will have to pit again. You could argue that the Dingler, Spencer Ray, Daniel Wiles, Sean Boundy could save enough to make it, because Peyton Howell, I mean, they've made it 160. But everybody, one of these guys up in the top 15 will have to pit again.
Will be a restart this time by our race leaders. Our top two have been on the racetrack now for 117 laps. The next longest stint on tires, McGill and Brown, 59 laps. Really old tires out front. I don't know. I don't get it, but restart anyways. Lap 161 underway. McGill going to try and get a run here on the 37 of Andon Mendenhall. This would be for second spot.
Andon Mendenhall running a 14.9 right now, and so is Holden McGill. So lap time is pretty much equal, even though their tires are 100 laps apart.
Remember when Peyton Howell, wow, a 14.36, and now Tucker goes faster at a 14.296. But remember when Peyton Howell pitted initially and had those brand new tires, got back on the racetrack and flew through the field? Yeah, he's still on that same set of tires.
Well, oh my, that was impressive. Andon Mendenhall just got into the wall. He's now falling behind Holden McGill, and Dalton Tucker and Jeremy Brown are at his attack.
Jeremy Brown of the slip up there falls back on the inside lane, but Dalton Tucker's going to try and take advantage of this slowing 37. The tires have officially fallen off on the 37 car. He is struggling to keep it out of the outside wall. Defends there on the outside that time. I don't know how Peyton Howell just went fastest, though. That's incredible.
I still don't. He's running a 14.4 right now. Holden McGill still running faster lap times, so he will catch him here at some point. He's only 2/10 back, so it's going to be close, and not long before Holden McGill probably retakes this lead.
On board of them here. He closed in about 2/10 back and then slowed up. It's difficult. The dirty air is a thing, even here at Bristol. You lose that front downforce and you're in trouble for sure.
Well, there's really no need for him to push, because Peyton Howell will have to pit again. He cannot make it to the end of this race. We talked about it, that our fuel mileage was 90 to 100 laps. Well, we're over 169 now for him since he's, or 126 since he's pitted. There's no way he can make it another 80.
McGill lunges to the inside there and made it side by side for a moment. Falls back now right behind Peyton Howell. Holden McGill watching him. Oh, my nose is a little stuffy. Here in North Carolina, the weather just changed. It went from 80 degrees to 30 in a hurry. But 30-degree baking here at Bristol, man. It's giving us some wild racing this evening. The top four now are clear, out and away. Howell, McGill, Tucker, Benefiel. Then Brown in fifth. Then Millett, Rhodes, Mendenhall, Paris, and Wirtz, your top 10.
And talk about Benefiel. What a race tonight. He has kept quiet, sitting around there, made the right pit calls, running in fourth, and strong at that.
There's Adam Benefiel. He was the first one to respond with a vote. as to when he thinks the NFL held a game here between Philadelphia and Washington. Was he right, though? And does he count?
I don't know. I think that's up to some of our crowd partners here and some of our admin, but we'll have to figure that out. I imagine they probably won't be, and it will be a true fan that's not in this field tonight.
Here comes lap traffic. Peyton Howell checking up behind Matthew Taylor. They caught them in a hurry.
Oh, Matthew Taylor into the wall there, really getting in the way of Peyton Howell.
Next up, Edward Jurgen at the top three gets clear of that first lap car. Jurgen stays high, the 11 goes low. And Howell now on 130 lap old tires continues to lead this race. Unbelievable.
Man, meanwhile, I was going to say, it's extremely impressive. Yellow is out.
Oh, man. See one car turned around. It's, oh, man. That is the 20 of Colin Terrell.
Colin Terrell has had a few incidents. Some of their own, some that he had no idea he could be involved in. Meanwhile, looking on here at the Panto car, it's a beautiful paint scheme. I really love it. It's hard to differentiate between the 20 and the 4. Whoa!
That was Russell Black in the 64.
Russell Black.
More trouble for him. I think he was involved with Jared Washon there. Oh, he was 3 wide between Laning and Matta. Moultrie there on the inside, then Washon up top. Here's the 3 wide off the corner. They squeeze, and Moultrie back up into Black, up into Washon, who goes up on 2. And that is a caution.
Yeah, pretty plain and simple at that. Russell was running just in the top 20 there before this incident. Take another look back at what happened here. 3 wide in the middle. Michael Matta on the bottom. 58 on the top. Oh, 58 almost gets in the wall there. Oh, and 3 wide yet again. Bouncing off each other. Moultrie. Wow, what an incident. I think that was Jared Wishon.
It was Washon, yeah, the 27 car.
Man, he was having such a good day too earlier before that big pileup at our last caution.
On board with Jared Washon here. He was having a really, really strong day. Nearly race-winning looking kind of day. Spencer Ray is right behind us, by the way, and gets by as, wow, Washon goes up on 2 for a moment.
Yeah, just know where he could go. Tried to cut down. Probably didn't know they were 3 wide there. Tried to cut down in the corner so he wouldn't slam the outside wall.
Peyton Howell has finally pitted. You knew he had to, right? Holden McGill also pits, and McGill is the first car off pit lane. Endon Mendenhall also pitted under this yellow. Spencer Ray pitted, Richard Laning, Jeremy Brown, Alfie Sharon Jr. That, I think, was the money stop. That was the time to come in and make that your final pit stop.
I think so. I think it's a great call to go ahead and pit now.
70 laps to go. You can definitely hang on to fuel and tires now. That was a really good window to make your last stop. I mean, we've seen how old tires have still been good late in the run. Granted, they're old tires that have had a lot of cautions to get there, but still tires that had to work for several laps. I think that was the money stop, personally. I think that was the time to come in. I think the winner was going to come out of that bunch.
It's not bad. Holden McGill, he'll line up 12th there. I just cannot believe they made those tires last so long.
Ryan Newman, league member, chiming in on the YouTube chat. So far, we're not going to reveal the answer yet. So these guys could be right or wrong. But there is a very consistent number being thrown out. A very consistent year being thrown out in the YouTube chat. It's very interesting how everybody is taking the exact same year. I thought this would be kind of all over the place, really. I thought guesses would be here and there. Yeah, I think it is tough. And again, these guys could be wrong. These guys could be right. They could be wrong or right. My point is, I thought there would be guesses all over the place. I thought we'd have some 1970s, 1950s, 1980s. You just don't really know. But here we go. Restart zone on the way for Dalton Tucker, the 21 car. Adam Benefield in the 84. Green flag back out. Brian Rose, Zach Millett there as well. Spinner in the back. Spencer Ray's in it.
Oh, still sideways is Ray.
Gonna look back at it.
Oh man, look at that toe. That is far out. Spencer Ray right here in the midfield.
Oh, gets into Andon Mendenhall.
Oh,
Mendenhall then gets free, and that comes. Oh man!
And Mendenhall had just pitted.
As did Spencer Ray. Both of these drivers have been out front a lot tonight. Ray's even got some laps led. Mendenhall's been second a lot tonight. And it's unfortunate to see these two come together like this and cause this next caution and potentially take each other out of the race.
Oh, absolutely. They were both contenders, both running well tonight. It looks like Mendenhall just comes down the track, tries to gather it up, and gets loose. They're off of 2.
And Mendenhall goes for a spin. Frohnapple gets a piece. We haven't talked much about Frohnapple tonight, but that is a sharp-looking 30 car.
I love it. I really love it. He's been running well. He's been running within the top 20 all night long. He's seen some bouts in the top 10.
Here it is again for Andon Mendenhall. Jeremy Brown just gets by. Frohnapple gets a piece. Vincent Short gets a piece. Boom, gets 2 pieces. And Mendenhall has a lot of damage out of that. These next-gen Cup cars are tanks. To have a car that beat up after one crash, that's a lot of damage.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting that the iRacing damage model is really good for really all these vehicles. But man, we carry a lot of speed around here, and it's real easy to hammer that outside or inside wall.
I'll tell you what. We'll give out the answer to that trivia question. Does this sound good to you, Scott? Around 50 to go.
Sounds great to me.
So there's still a little bit more time if you're out there watching, on the fence about joining into the conversation. Still a little bit of time to join in. The first person to get that question right in the YouTube chat gets a $25 voucher to IMB Racewear, one of the partners of this SimRat Market series. And so far, it's been a very consistent answer. I'm not going to say that's right or wrong. I don't know. I was left out of it. I was told I couldn't guess and I couldn't know. But we'll reveal the answer here around 50 to go, so about 10 more laps. The next caution after that, I'll tell you what, the next caution after that is when we'll talk more about it. But this will be an opportunity to get this race restarted. You see Peyton Howell there in the middle of the field. The iRacing.com safety car lights are still illuminated, signaling that we still have at least one more lap around before we go racing. In fact, we go ahead.
Sorry. Penalty for the 37 unhanded Mendenhall. Driving through too many boxes on pit road.
Got to be aware of that. Granted, he's already having a pretty bad night all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't out before for a good finish, he is definitely now.
One more time, a big thank you to our partners with the series. SimRatMarket.com, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moser Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, and Cyber Edge Hosting. We'll leave this graphic up so you can get accustomed with all the great partners that make this series possible on this restart. Dalton Tucker, Adam Benefield, your front row. Then Zach Millett, Brian Rose, Brian Wirtz, and Nathan Paris, your top 6. Green flag back in the air here at Bristol. Adam Benefield straight to the bottom of Dalton Tucker. A little bit of contact between Millett and Rose behind.
And Rose is loose back
Spinning,
there.
Peyton Howell.
Around.
One car on his side, that's Frohnapple into the wall. Peyton Howell comes back down the racetrack in front of traffic.
Huge hit from the 99.
And Howell is done. The dominator tonight out of this race.
He's led so many laps. Look at him and Jeremy Brown there fighting side by side for position. Brown almost 3 wide here coming off of turn 4.
Brown got loose and hooked him.
Oh man, look at Frohnapple.
And Howell was okay, truthfully, until he came back down the racetrack in front of Alfie Sharon Jr. Hey, his car was all right.
Yeah, he hadn't made any significant contact there until Alfie Jr. piled into the 99, but of course he had nowhere to go. Peyton Howell shot right back down the track. Taking another look here, 3 wide. Jeremy Brown gets a little loose into the back of Howell. Man, and Frohnapple goes sideways.
In more ways than one. We'll get the onboard here with Brandon Frohnapple in the 30 car. This is sure to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting view, a very fun view for us, not for him.
Can't see anything going low.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And immediately that broke the right front of the car. You see how the steering wheel is static? We stop getting steering wheel data when the right front or left front snaps. When a steering wheel...
I know that.
Yeah, so we stop getting that data as soon as a wheel completely disconnects. So as soon as that wheel goes static, you can tell a wheel is disconnected. In this case, it's the right front.
I did
Watch
not
it again.
know.
We'll slow it down for you. And right here, boom, wheel jumps back to static right there.
Yep. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's not surprising. Almost looked like kind of what happened to Tyler Reddick last week at the Roval.
Some similarities there for sure, and you see the right front bouncing around on the 30 car. Unfortunate stuff.
Well, Frohnapple was having a pretty good day. He was looking for some solid points here, but that is going to ruin all that.
Yeah, to have this race so early in the season, I mean, everybody's going to be trying to recover from Bristol all season long. It's going to be that season-long recovery from one bad race for most of the field. This is Alfie Sharon's view. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Peyton just came back down the racetrack, and I hate to rag on a guy who's just gone through a race-ending crash after dominating in this event, but you've got to be a little more aware yourself and for others and not bring the car back down the racetrack. Now, I think he might have still had some wheel in it. Maybe that's what it was, but I think that could have been prevented or at least mitigated. Maybe I'm wrong, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard, really, to get yourself reoriented. You're going backwards down the speedway, trying to keep it off the wall, and then you take it into the track. So, yeah, it's one of those things it probably could be avoided, but in the heat of the moment, it's so hard to think about those things. But
we'll have an opportunity here to go back racing in just a moment with nearly 50 laps to go. Just over 50 laps to go. It'll be 53 this time by, likely 52 when we get the green flag. Want to give a nod to our partners with the channel, Whiplash Sim Cams, bringing you the sights and sounds of every Pit Stop TV broadcast. ATVO bringing you the graphics. CC's Business bringing you the beautiful, sweet smells at Broadcast HQ. Really bringing us the smells. You guys can get in on the action at CC's Business on Facebook. And then Cody Williams Design helping us look good, go fast. This will be an opportunity to get this race restarted now with 52 laps to go. It's Dalton Tucker, Zach Millett, Brian Wirtz, Brian Rose, Nathan Parrish are top 5. Green flag back in the air at Bristol. And Zach Millett hangs right with Dalton Tucker. What a restart out of the 31 car.
It's only going to get more chaotic from here. The 31 trying to take it on the bottom. Try to slide up here in front of Dalton Tucker. He won't be able to. Tucker will have a run on the top.
Caution, who was in the lead?
It looks like Tucker, he had some momentum there from the top side of 3 and 4. But right now, it's looking like it's Zach Miller.
Looking for who might have been the caution.
To find that. Meanwhile, this is getting, like I thought, it's getting chaotic here at the front and the back. But man,
oh, Noah Rainwater again. This time involving Robert Kahn in the 14 car.
And Kahn he's been in the back. He was up front a little bit earlier. He's got some damage from this incident and others, but he was doing pretty well before that.
Rainwater there gets tipped by Masadi, and Kahn gets involved.
I know Rainwater has got to be frustrated about that because Rainwater, before this, he was only 2 laps down. Meanwhile, Masadi is 44 laps down.
Way to add insult to injury there, Scott. I mean,
no. I mean, Masadi earlier, the incident wasn't his fault, but I mean, just talking about the 05, got to be a little upset getting wrecked by a car that is a significant portion of laps down more than him.
No, you're absolutely right. That's going to be frustrating for sure. And then to get that little hit at the end and get turned back around by the 14 backing down the racetrack, that's a little frustrating for sure. But hey, this comes out right at 50 laps to go, which means, do you know what that means?
Yeah, I do.
That means you have to reveal the answer to our Scott's question, Scott's trivia question.
Yeah, well, it looked like I was excited about this one. It looks like a lot of you figured it out or found it. You might have found the website I found, but it was 1961.
So Adam Benefield has the first answer, the first correct answer. But then it's Brian Ruisi, and we'll tell you what, we'll let the league be the judge because Adam Benefield's in the race. But this is meant to be for fans. So Benefield was the first one to be right. But in this case, Brian Ruisi, not in the race this evening, is a fan this week. I think he might get the edge for it because one random position in this race gets an IMB Racewear voucher. I believe anyways. Maybe it's butt kicker. Anyhow. This is meant for a fan to get in on the action as well. I think it's going to go to Brian Ruisi, being that he is technically a fan this evening. He's not racing, and Adam Benefield is. But that's just me. We'll leave it to the league to decide exactly, the league owners, because that's a decision for somebody above my pay grade, if I'm being honest. But we see at least who was right, who was wrong. Everybody was right. Everybody that put in a vote was right. 1961, which is pretty crazy to me. But hey, that was a really good question, I got to say, Scott. And if we're going to do this weekly, that's a really good way to get this thing started. A really good way to kick things off. If you see what I did there.
Well, I was on the fly for that one, so I thought it was pretty good.
So Adam Benefield, hey, he even says let Adam have it. I'm not the one who decides personally. But Adam's in the race. It's technically for a fan. Brian's technically a fan tonight. Regardless. Hey, it's good to see Luke Rainwater out in the chat, chiming in about his brother's crash. And yes, that's frustrating. But Noah's still in the race. He's still got an opportunity here to go for glory and get back in this thing with just over 40 laps to go. In fact, that time by was 45 to go. This time by will be 44 laps to go. Green flag on the way for Zach Millett, and there it is in the Van Lilly Stickers 250. We are back green at Bristol. Whoa, a couple of cars in the wall. Brian Wirtz, one of them. The leader's getting out to an advantage. Brian Wirtz, Nathan Paris on the outside, Michael Matta there as well.
Brian Wirtz was into Brian Rose a little bit in that pink and blue 98. Can't believe he didn't go around. Wow, Wirtz loose off the corner.
Hangs on to things just barely as Dingler's back into this thing. Dingler up into fourth.
Oh,
Caution. Oh.
Saw a big move there from the 45. Right before the caution, he was making a move on the bottom.
I think this might be Casey Knighton. Well, I'm not so sure. He comes down and slows it way down like he's coming to pit lane.
Looks like he made it on him pretty well at any time.
I think that might be the caution. I'd love to get clarification from race control, maybe.
That's the only thing I'm seeing out here. I gotta say, that was a pretty great entry to pit road. It's pretty darn clean.
Well, Zach Millett stays the race leader, and he pitted some 73 laps ago. I think he's trying to stretch fuel out the rest of the way. He's got 40 laps to go. We've seen 130. I don't know about 140. That's a lot of fuel saving, but if he can make it work, that could be a big, big move.
Well, it looks like right now they'll only get to about 115 or so. Maybe if we have a few extra green white checkers, I think at maximum we'll get to 130. So I think it is doable. The question is, you have to do it right. Peyton Howell, they had enough cautions to be able to do it. Right now we're having a good few, but can Zach Millett, Dalton Tucker, Brian Rose, Brian Wirtz, Nathan Paris, can these guys make it all the way?
Next up, these guys go to Circuit of the Americas. You can pick out your favorite race of this schedule on the schedule graphic on your screen now. If you had to pick a favorite race, one that you're looking forward to the most, which would it be?
Oh, Sonoma. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I love Sonoma. I think it is one of the coolest road courses that the Cup Series goes to. I don't see it on many schedules that I see a lot of iRacing series that do the Cup Series. So I'm really glad that it is on the schedule. It is such an awesome road course, especially with that first 4 corners. That is my favorite section. So that's definitely my favorite. Another favorite is probably Richmond. Richmond is really tough in this car. Iowa also really tough in this car. I raced there last night in one of my leagues, and man, it was tough. I had to struggle.
If I had to pick one, Iowa would be on the list. Charlotte might be on there as well.
I was gonna say, what's
Homestead,
yours? Yeah.
Miami would be on there, but they'd all be on a list. On top of that list would be California.
Really?
Season finale. That's the track that Luke Rainwater picked for the Luke's Playhouse benefit race not so long ago, and it was a bunch of fun. A really good race selection. So California, I think, we'll bring the graphic back up. We have another lap before green flag. California is a really good track for these race cars. Really exciting to watch. A lot of great finishes there in the last little while that we've covered. We had, I want to say, We've had 3 races in the last 3 months there with this NASCAR Next Gen Cup car on Pit Stop TV. I believe that's correct. We had the Luke's Playhouse event. Then we had the BRB Butker Cup Series there, and then we had at some point, we had the Icon Cup Series there. And all 3 races were absolutely fantastic. So I really am looking forward to California. In fact, we have an event coming up in California on Pit Stop TV that I'll talk more about later on. It's not quite on that upcoming broadcast graphic yet, but we'll talk more about it later as we have 35 laps to go. This time by, green flag is back out at Bristol. Ryan Dingler, a big move off the restart. Holden McGill's got the best tires somewhere behind these guys, but Dingler had the best restart of the bunch. He's got slightly better tires than some of these guys up ahead, slightly better tires than Millet, and he is coming in a head of steam.
Dingler back up to second now, highest position all day. Meanwhile, I was talking about it earlier, Michael Matto wasn't having a great day. Well, he's doing pretty great now, up in 5th.
On board with Ryan Dingler with a head of steam.
Trying to catch up to Zach Millet. This is going to be close. This is awesome. Ryan Dingler heading the charge. Zach Millet now moves up to the top to defend.
Dingler just went fast. It's a 14.282. And he's going to slide down and dive down to the inside of turn number 3, looking for the race lead.
And he's trying to give everything he's got. Coming to 31 to go. Then Zach Millet still leads.
The outlier Toyota Camry. I think one of the outliers in tonight's possible lineup of drivers to fight for the win. Did not expect these 2 to be leading this race. Really, the 3 of the top 4, did not expect them at all. I expected Dalton Tucker to be in it, Peyton Howell, Spencer Ray, some of those guys. I did not expect this top 2, Zach Millet and Ryan Dingler, with nearly 25 laps to go.
Well, I think it shows you that tonight was about avoiding incidents and avoiding mistakes, and the top 4 have done that, and they have been contenders and been safe all day long.
Here we go, Dingler back to the inside of Millet, slips up, caution.
Can't quite get there.
There's the 47 of Kip Easley turned around. Easily one of the cars still on the lead lap. He might lose it here. Racing with Michael Moultrie, Matt Cherry, Quentin Lee. Oh, and there was the checkup ahead with Holden McGill. Holden McGill, a big hit. Brian Wirtz involved.
Your pole sitter into the inside retaining wall. That started way farther up than we thought.
Yeah, it did, right behind the race leaders. Here's Holden McGill and Brian Wirtz. Right there, Wirtz came up across the nose of McGill. And then
they still kept it clean, and then, Wirtz gets loose again.
Wow.
That's heavy contact.
McGill's done. He has parked the car.
Wow.
Here's Brian Wirtz. You're going to see him try to clear up off of turn 4 right here. Ooh, into the wall. And then gets loose on corner exit to spark the rest of this. Gets into Andon Mendenhall. They check up behind with Grant Peterson, Ian Brasfield. And Kip Easley. I'm not really sure how Kip Easley got turned around.
Well, this goes to tell you, Andrew, how tough this race has been. Only the top 18 cars are on the lead lap. And we haven't gone green long enough that most of those drivers, they're only a lap down because of crashes.
Because of incidents, that's right. Here's Kip Easley's incident. This is checking up for the crash, gets tipped by Matt Cherry, and that's what sends the 47 car around. Slides down to the inside lane there. Pretty quick spin for him. And he should stay on the lead lap. Zach Millet stays out again. I really think he's committed here.
He definitely is at this point. I mean, if you pit now, you're going back to 19. And while that's not bad, why not stay out and try to race for the lead? If anything else to the end, you're going to fall maybe outside the top 20 barely. Also, Andrew, this is a great time to gamble early in the season. If you have something go wrong, there's time to recover.
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree there. You see the special livery on the paint scheme for Zach Millett. I love the metallic pink he's got going on with that thing. A little bit of metallic gold. Really nice finish on that number 31 car. And he has aggressively got himself to the lead of this race, aggressively with a pit call. Some 90 laps ago, he came down pit lane for what will likely be the final time. And he's going to try and make his bed and lie in it here, get to the end of this race with enough fuel to win this thing. It's going to take a little more saving. It's going to take even some saving, I think, under green. It's going to be close. 90 laps is what we were told. 90 to 95 laps. He's looking to go for about 100 and, well, with 20 to go. I must have had math wrong at some point. I was thinking 140. It's going to be about 110, so it's doable. Question is, do we have enough caution laps for it?
I think so. At this point, I don't think our cautions are over. I think we're probably going to see another one.
Andon Mendenhall is back in this thing. He runs in the 10th spot. He's going to restart there alongside Adam Benefield. Watch for him as these laps wind down. It's Zach Millett, Ryan Dingler, Dalton Tucker, Nathan Paris, Michael Matta, Brian Rose into the restart zone. Green flag is back out. Dingler and Paris side by side for the restart. Dingler pulls away and dives right to the inside of Zach Millett.
Trying to get back to the back bumper of Millett. 20 laps to go in this race.
Oh, a little sideways up off the corner. Ryan Dingler trying to do everything he can. There's a caution again. That's everything and more of what that race leader Zach Millett needs. That is everything he needs. Caution after caution.
I have no doubt after one or two more that he can for sure make it.
Here's the instant with Edward Jurgen in the 92. These first 2 weeks have been a couple of weeks to forget from the 92 car. He bounces off the wall, collects Noah Rainwater, and again, Noah Rainwater involved in a crash of not his own doing. He is at a rough night.
Yeah, he's had a rough night as well. Once you get in the back like this, it just gets tough. It's so easy. These guys are pushing real hard here at the end, trying to gain every spot they can. And these mistakes are going to happen.
Noah Rainwater did some racing this summer. Went out and ran at Cookout Summer Shootout at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ran an event. And made his, I don't want to say big car because legend cars aren't big cars, but big car debut as opposed to just kart racing at Millbridge Speedway. And he still does kart racing at Millbridge Speedway, which is a tough thing in and of itself. But made his, quote, big car debut at Charlotte Motor Speedway earlier this summer. Good to see him here on iRacing, trying to continue on with what he's been doing, but a rough night for him here at Bristol.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do what Noah Rainwater's doing, but man, not having the night he would have wanted here. But again, like we talked about, it's early on. It's only race 2. There is plenty of time to get back up here at the front in the future races in Season 2.
It'll be inside now with 15 laps to go at Bristol Motor Speedway. Can you believe it? The laps just continue to click off one by one, and we are finally getting down to crunch time here. Zach Millett, the race leader. Ryan Dingler, second. Then Nathan Paris, Dalton Tucker, Brian Rose, Jeremy Brown, Andon Mendenhall, Michael Matta, Daniel Wiles in the 9th spot, Michael Moultrie in 10th. Scott, it's been a pleasure having you for these first couple of races and hopefully many more of this SimRat Market Series. Can you believe, though, the twists and turns, the different bumps in the road for these guys tonight? I mean, this has been just an unbelievable, unprecedented kind of race.
I'm really not that surprised. I mean, I think more here in the back half of this race. I'm a little surprised at the extensive cautions, but again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is Bristol, and stuff like this happens. If you love seeing racing like this, follow us on social media. We're on X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We have our own website, pitstoptv.com. Come over and visit us. If you just want to watch more, come on over to YouTube, Twitch, X, any of all the things like that. We're doing some awesome stuff out here. It's so much fun, even with the cautions. We love it. We love this series, and excited to continue it on.
Just love listening to the sounds of these cars rolling by these static cameras. We're getting down nearly to 10 laps to go. Zach Millett's going to lead us back around to the green flag. 12 laps to go when we go back racing this next time by. Ryan Dingler second. He has been fighting and clawing to try and get that lead away as we eclipse 100 laps completed on this set of tires for Zach Millett, for Dalton Tucker, for Nathan Paris, for Brian Rose, for Michael Matta, and for Matt Cherry. Let's see what these guys can do on this restart. Green flag coming, 12 laps to go in the Van Lilly stickers, 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway, benefiting breast cancer awareness. Green flag back in the air. One car in the wall, it's Michael Moultrie. 11 laps to go here at Bristol. Ryan Dingler still hounding that 31 car.
Dingler goes for it on the bottom, trying to get past him here. Coming to 10 to go at the line. Dingler almost had it last week, was running in the top 10, got wrecked near the end of the race. He wants it back today. Meanwhile, Zach Millett up 41 from the start of this race, trying to take away the win.
Can you imagine if he goes from back to front like that? If he's able to get this race win. Trying to hang on these last few laps, outlast the charge from Dingler and company. Dingler, Tucker, Paris, Brown, the top 5. What a turnaround for Jeremy Brown, by the way.
And in Mendenhall, big wreck earlier, he's in 9th. Meanwhile, Michael Matta, like we talked about, having a bad day, he's in 6th.
Brian Rose out of Benefield here in the top 10. All fighting for position. Michael Matta there on the outside of Benefield. Now Rose gets up there. But up front, Dingler continues to work that bottom side. Gets loose that time. Saves the race car. Just barely, but you can tell he's driving it for all it's worth.
Man, he is pushing with everything he's got. Falling back now to 3/10 behind Millett. Then Dalton Tucker now getting to the back bumper of Dingler.
I think that might have been it. I don't think those tires have enough to get back up to Millett. 5 laps to go that time by. I think that was the move.
It might have been. That mistake from Dingler might have been it. We're coming up to 4 to go.
Zach Millett continues to lead. 4 laps left here at Bristol. You said it, Scott. He started back in 43rd position, up 42 spots to first. 3 laps to go at Bristol.
Zach Millett, he is led out here for the past 50 laps. He's held on to it with these little tires. He has played the strategy just right. All he has to do is hold off Dingler and Dalton for 2 more laps.
2 laps to go at Bristol Motor Speedway. 2 more times around. 1 mile and counting. 3/4 of a mile this next time into turns 3 and 4. Now a half mile left here at Bristol. 1 lap to go. White flag brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Zach Millett, he has been waiting for this all night long. It's so stressful at the front of this pack, but he's got a 3/10 gap coming through 3 and 4.
A send from Tucker for second, but Zach Millett is going to go to victory lane at Bristol Motor Speedway. He wins the Van Lilly Stickers 250.
Wow, what a drive from Zach Millett.
Zach Millett, the champion gladiator of them all, this evening at Bristol Motor Speedway, able to get it done on the high banks of Tennessee, the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile. Unbelievable. Able to outlast those 113 lap old tires. So Zach Millett will come around and I'd imagine celebrate here on the front straightaway at Bristol Motor Speedway. And yes, he's going to burn it down.
Such an impressive all the way from the back.
From 43rd spot on the grid to first at checkered flag, Zach Millett with the race win to kick off this season's second race of the season here in the Simrat Market Series. Second race and he goes to victory lane. We'll talk to him and more as Zach Millett parks on the front stretch. Let's go through your unofficial race results here in a moment. I think that's a good first step here after the checkered flag. Unofficial race results: Zach Millett with the race win, Ryan Dingler second, Dalton Tucker third, then Nathan Paris and Jeremy Brown your top five. Michael Matta, Adam Benefiel 6th and 7th, Brian Rose 8th, Daniel Wiles hangs on for 9th, and Andon Mendenhall able to come home in the 10th spot. 11th spot, Quentin Lee, then Matthew Taylor, Matt Cherry, Richard Lanning, and Gary Bowman. Kip Beasley, making his first start of the season, goes 16th spot. Russell Black in 17th. Casey Knight in the final car on the lead lap. Brian Wirtz, Edward Jurgen, 2 laps down each. We'll see some more drivers back here with heartbreak. Highlights going to include Michael Moultrie and Jared Washon and Spencer Ray. Even Brandon Frohnapple, after his big crash, he finishes 27th. Christian Light 28th, Cody Ellis 29th, and Grant Peterson 30th spot. Noah Rainwater ends up 32nd. Some more highlights back here, including Holden McGill, 28 laps down, 33rd position. Peyton Howell, certainly a highlight, in 36th, 59 laps down. Anthony Masadi, 38th, 86 laps down. Sean Lodeson had a rough night. Hank Caston had a rough night. Then Rhett Nichols, Austin McColgan, Matthew Correa. 43 cars started this race. Matthew Montgomery, Joseph Tucker, the 2 cars that we thought were in that did not make the show. We will dial up our top finishers here, beginning with Zach Millett, and talk to our race winner. Zach Millett, I can't believe this. I know you from the Noble Can-Am series, from running late models on road courses. Now here you are, a race winner in the Simrat Market Series, one of the baddest and toughest leagues here on the iRacing.com sim. What a race. How were you able to hang on with those old tires?
Oh man, I don't know, man. That high side was just killer tonight, you know, and I don't know. I think second place there had way newer tires. I think Ryan had at least 13, 14 lap newer tires, if not better. And I mean, he was so much faster than me. He had wicked good pace, and all I could do was hug that top line and hope for the best, man. It was tense.
Certainly a job well done. Is this your second race ever in the series? I know it's the second of the season, and we don't have a long history, of course, with the series. This is being our second ever broadcast with the series. Is this your second ever race with these guys as well?
Yeah, second ever race. Me and some teammates, we just jumped in this league this year. Man, I'm telling you, I mean, second race in, it's a lot of fun, man. The race control is incredible. It's a heck of a league to be in. I'm looking forward to doing more races with these guys.
Next up, talking about you running late models on road courses and being an absolute monster, an absolute machine in those races. It's a road course next week. Circuit of the Americas, how do you feel?
Oh, man. You know, I love the track. I love pretty much almost any car there. To be honest, I've never driven the next gen there. I imagine it's pretty loose and crazy, and man, I'm pumped for it. Can't wait.
Well, best of luck to you, Zach. Congratulations on the race win. This is going to be a huge boost in the points. Good to talk to you as well. Congrats, though, buddy. We'll be talking to you again soon.
Man, I hope so. Good talking to you, Andrew.
That's Zach Millett. We'll move him back down and bring in now second place finisher Ryan Dingler, who comes home in the second spot after starting 16th to match your car number. Ryan, that was a rough and tumble race, but you had one of the cleanest cars at the end. How did you keep the fenders on it?
Pure luck. There was a couple times where I had some really big misses. I don't know if you guys caught them, but yeah, I did some bobbing and weaving and dodging and a few mistakes on pit road where we had to come from the back like a couple times. And once we got to the front there, I think it was just after lap 200, it was on from there, and it was pretty good for us after that.
Is there anything else you could have done? Maybe one more restart and try something a little bit different on the restart. Is there anything else you could have done to get that 31 car?
I don't know. It's just so hard to pass here. I mean, you can hit the bottom like the first lap, but after that, once your tires are kind of worn out, the top is just where it's at. So I don't know if I could have got anything other than if I got close enough to give him a bump, but I wouldn't want to wreck him, so I doubt I would have even done it.
Well, it's good to talk to you for the second week in a row now. You were the driver of the day last time around. Congratulations. Second place here tonight. A solid effort. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Ryan Dingler with the second place effort this evening, just ahead of Dalton Tucker, who finishes third spot, last season's champion. You come home third after starting pretty high up there. Let's see, fifth place when it was all said and done on the grid. How were you able to hang on, and could you have done anything there at the end to get those guys ahead of you?
Overall, I mean, it was a good night, but just a few mistakes just really set me back early, and fought my way all the way back, and I got the lead with about 70 to go or so, and I knew there's going to be a bunch of cautions, so I tried to hold that, and when Zach nosed me out on one of those cautions, I knew, oh boy, I'm in trouble, because it is so hard to pass, and I haven't pitted in forever. So I had nothing for Zach or Ryan. I think everybody's car was so equal that it was so tough to pass.
Well, going back-to-back here for a championship is going to be about consistency, and you've got it to start this season. 2 solid results. How do you carry this to Dakota next week?
Oh boy, that's a curse word in my book for Coda. It's gonna be tough. I'm not a road course guy, and hopefully we can get the setups from Conti and start practicing pretty early. But it's gonna be a lot of laps to get a good finish there, and consistency. That's the name of the game at road courses, is just consistent, safe laps that are somehow quick. So if we can knock that down, maybe we can come home with a top 10, and I think that'll be good for the points.
Dalton Tucker looking for those those consistent laps that are somehow fast next week at Coda. Congratulations on a third place effort. Hopefully we're talking again in a week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dalton Tucker with third place this evening. Congratulations to the entire top 3. Solid efforts from each of them. That'll do it for us this evening, though, from Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's take one more look at the season schedule. Next up is out to Austin, Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. 34 laps of racing, just 34 laps next week on October 23rd, but it's a big track. Those laps will take a little while. I want to say 2 minutes and change. It's going to be a long race for those guys still at Circuit of the Americas next week before we go to Las Vegas on November the 6th. Make sure to tune in for these races and more coming up on Pit Stop TV. Here's a look at everything coming up at Pit Stop TV. In fact, and I mentioned earlier, another event happening at California here soon. It'll be the Jack-O-Lantern 200 on Wednesday, October 30th. That should be a lot of fun. There you see the full spread. Next up, we head out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the Icon Cup Series for the elimination race at the round of 8. Then it's out to Dakota with the Simrat Market Series on October 23rd. And finally, out to Homestead Miami Speedway with the Icon Cup Series in the first race of the round of 4. Thanks for tuning in this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. Make sure to follow along with Pit Stop TV on social media. Down below, you see all the different links, all the different platforms that we're on. But that will do it for us and our partners with the channel, with the series, SimRapMarket.com, Apex Racing, IMB Racewear, Moser Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, Cyber Edge Hosting. All great partners this evening. Van Lilly's stickers as well. The Van Lilly stickers, $250 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Big thank you to all partners here at the channel, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design. While that does it for us this evening, another week of racing is not far away. COTA next week. Going to be a lot of fun, but this is race 2 to benefit breast cancer awareness. Every lap completed this evening goes to be donated to breast cancer awareness. What a noble cause here by the No Limit Racing League. Can't wait to get week 3 underway next week at COTA. Thanks to all these great partners with the series. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you all next time at Circuit of the Americas. Until then, have a great night.
A new season tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door to door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?